Good morning. I am starting my day at Clydebank railway station, and the plan today is to hop on a train to Glasgow Central, from Glasgow Central get down to Ardrossan harbour, and then hop on a ferry to the Isle of Arran. So it's a rail and sail day out once again. Why don't you come along and see how it goes?
This train is for Quiflet. The next stop is Yoker.
And 21 minutes later, we're arriving at Glasgow Central. Right, so that's us at Glasgow Central low level. So let's get to the high level. And then next stop will be Ardrossan. It's platform 9 for us today, and this 3-car set is causing a little bit of confusion with people getting on and then getting off when they realise that it's not an Ardrossan bound train. But happily all the passengers seem to keep one another right, and pretty soon our 7-car train was pulling in. So I'm just waiting on the train here at platform 9. It hasn't arrived yet, and you know you're in Glasgow when a random stranger approaches you and says, "Alright big man, are you on the Salt Coast train?" Gotta love it. And in all fairness, he was right on 3 counts. I am big, I am a man, and this Class 380 electric multiple unit is indeed the train for Saltcoats. In fact, it'll take us from Glasgow Central to Ardrossan Harbour via Saltcoats. And while I'm blethering on, perhaps you would consider subscribing to the channel. If you've already done so, thank you so much for your continued support, and if you haven't, well, why not consider it? It takes less than a second to do and makes all the difference to me. Anyway, let's get on board. So this is the 8:34 service from Glasgow Central, and certainly in this carriage, yeah, it was pretty busy, which I think is always a good thing, and there was a happy hubbub throughout. And bang on 8:34 we departed and made our way to Ardrossan Harbour. Our journey will start off heading along the Inverclyde Line as far as Paisley Gilmour Street station. After Gilmour Street at Walnock Junction, the Ayrshire Coast Line diverges and heads south. When we reach Kilwinning, there is a junction there which will either take your trains south to Troon and Ayr or along the branch lines to Largs and Ardrossan Harbour. So we're heading to Ardrossan Harbour, so just after Ardrossan South Beach station, we take the 1-mile branch line, calling it Ardrossan Town and ultimately Ardrossan Harbour, and from there we catch the ferry to the Isle of Arran and the port of Brodick. And a few short minutes after leaving Glasgow Central, and we're arriving at Paisley Gilmour Street, a Category B listed building. The station opened in 1840. Now interestingly to me, Paisley is served by 3 railway stations, as is our destination Ardrossan. Now I'm reliably informed that Ardrossan has a population of just over 10,000 people. So YouTube, is there a town or city in the UK with a smaller population than Ardrossan which is served by 3 railway stations? Come on YouTube, do your thing, let me know in the comments. And while I've got you, I'm not an expert on these things, but I've got to say I'm really enjoying this Class 380 train. The acceleration is excellent, the ride quality is outstanding. I'm a big fan. But again, what do you think, YouTube? Are you a fan of these Class 380 electric multiple units? Or maybe you just need to get up to Scotland and give them a go, and then you can let me know in the comments. travelling through the Renfrewshire countryside, we're treated to a number of modest but well-maintained stations, such as this one at Lochwinnock, which opened in 1840, in 1905 was renamed Lochside, and then was renamed back to Lochwinnock in 1985 when the line was electrified. And if you like nature, you can hop off here and visit the RSPB Nature Reserve. And following stops at Glengarnock and Dalry, we arrive at Kilwinning, the most frequently served station in Ayrshire. And here the line branches, so the line to the left there, that's heading down the coast towards Ayr, and our line to the right, which is heading on the branches to Largs and Ardrossan. Leaving Stevenston, we get our first glance of the Firth of Clyde, with our destination the Isle of Arran on the horizon, just visible with all that low cloud. At Saltcoats, things become interesting. Our service is already running late, and the train is due to arrive in at Ardrossan Harbour at 9:26, with the foot passenger check-in closing at 9:35, 10 minutes prior to the 9:45 sailing. The railway becomes single track for passenger trains after Saltcoats, so a late running train is not what's needed. But you've guessed it, what have we got? A late running northbound Glasgow train. The joys. And after what seems like an age, that Glasgow-bound train pulls into the station, and we're clear to make our way towards our final three stops: Ardrossan South Beach, Ardrossan Town, and Ardrossan Harbour. South Beach Station opened in 1883, and one resource that I checked, Wikipedia, said that it opened on the 1st of January 1883. Now, we all know that Wikipedia is a source of reliable and factual information all the time, but I wonder if it did actually open on the 1st of January, even with Victorian virtues, were there a few sore heads after the night before. We're now inching our way along the 1 mile branch to Ardrossan Town and Ardrossan Harbour. Ardrossan Town opened in 1831, which makes it surely one of the oldest railway stations in the UK. Having said that, it did close in 1968 and was only reopened in 1987, so maybe that disqualifies it. And I'd just like to say big thanks to all my Ko-fi supporters. Your support helps me to keep producing and putting out content, so that is very much appreciated. And if you'd like to support the channel, well, there's a link in the description.
approaching Ardrossan Harbour. Please mind the gap when alighting from this train.
And our late running service arrives at the terminus of Ardrossan Harbour. An interesting little station. It opened in 1987 to replace Ardrossan Winton Pier station, and although it's managed by SCOTRAIL, it's owned by Peel Ports. Right, so the train was 8 minutes late, so officially check-in for foot passengers is closed. There are so many foot passengers, I'm hoping they might have held the ferry for us to get on. Here's hoping. And here's the vessel that's going to take us to Arran, the 40-year-old MV Isle of Arran. And happily we were all allowed to board. Notice on deck 6 where the bridge is, you've got those outdoor bridge wings. Not a feature on many vessels these days, I don't think, but this is by no means a particularly modern ship, and I think she looks absolutely great. I really love the more than ample deck space that's available, so for me it's get on board and straight up to the bow end of the ship to see what's going on up there. From the bow of the vessel you get a good look at where we've come from. You might be able to make out the railway station there along with the covered walkway, and there's the Calmac terminal. No time to have a look at that, it was straight off the train and onto the ferry, and as you can see there are still plenty of people boarding. And having taken a walk up to the bow of the vessel, well, the natural thing from there is to go to the stern, so let's go.
Welcome aboard. A safety message will follow shortly. Please ensure you give it your full attention. We hope you have a safe and pleasant journey with us. Faster with this. Anyone taking children on deck.
If you're feeling particularly hardy, then perhaps deck 5 is the place for you. There is plenty of outdoor seating available, although on this particular crossing it may have had nothing to do with hardiness that there were so many people outside and just the need to get a seat. Having said that, there is also covered seating. More about that later. And at 9:45 we depart the berth. To the left of shot is the low-lying Horse Island. It has a 16-metre tall stone-built beacon that marks the island for shipping. It was erected in 1811. Today, Horse Island is an RSPB nature reserve. Leaving Ardrossan, it's interesting to note that Isle of Arran is a vessel of firsts. She was Calmac's first roll-on, roll-off car ferry, and she was also the first vessel in Calmac's fleet to have a dedicated no-smoking lounge, which I imagine in the 1980s was something of a novelty, if not a bit of a peculiarity. But anyway, She's still going strong. She can carry 659 passengers and 62 cars with a sailing speed of 15 knots. That's not too shabby. So let's take a look around. Firstly, let's explore Deck 3.
So thank you, Calmac, for letting all the foot passengers get on board. They did mention that the train was late and they seemed to hold the boat for us, which was nice. I am on Deck 3, which has some covered seating. All the exciting stuff is on Deck 4, which is absolutely heaving. So we've got a pet area up there, the Mariners Cafe, coffee cabin, it's all going on up there. I will try and get some videoing, but as I say, there's a lot of people. But we'll do our best. But so far, so good.
So the main passenger accommodation can be found on Deck 4. So at the main entrance there is luggage space available. There was also an information desk and a gaming area which appeared to be closed. The Mariners restaurant was doing a roaring trade in breakfasts, and this is it when things had quietened down a little bit as we approached Brodick, and it's a pleasant enough area. Heading to the forward end of the vessel, this is where you'll find the loos, also the dedicated pet area and the coffee cabin, which serves soft drinks, alcohol and coffee. I managed to get a seat here on the way back, and it was a really comfortable spot just to enjoy the journey. And looking in at the pet area, well, it was busy. This is it in quieter times. Let's talk money. So my anytime day return from Glasgow Central to Ardrossan Harbour was £10.80, and my return fare from Ardrossan to Brodick was £9.20, coming to the grand total of £20. Now you might be saying, well, why do you not just say that Glasgow Central to Brodick was 20 quid return? Well, because I had to book it in two separate legs. I had to book my train on the SCOTRAIL app and then my ferry on the Calmac website, which is fine. On the SCOTRAIL app it was saying that I could enter both those destinations, but it wasn't giving me any times and prices, which was different from the rail and sail that I took to the Isle of Bute, where you could book from Glasgow all the way through to Rothesay. So I don't know, maybe it's just a glitch in the app, but it was 20 quid return. You can't argue with that.
So welcome to Brodick on the Isle of Arran, and it has started to rain, so that's just tremendous. I will need to find somewhere to take a bit of shelter. What can we say? Well, the train was absolutely fine, not too busy. The ferry, the Isle of Arran, absolutely crammed. Now, if you've watched any of my recent videos, you're probably going to think I sound like a broken record, but again, with so busy, it is really hard just to film, especially you've got kids, and it's not easy. I have done my best, that's all I can say about that. What I would say is Isle of Arran is 40 years old, the ferry, not the island, and you can tell. I mean, I loved it. It was absolutely brilliant. Felt like a real old-fashioned ferry, which was great for me as a day tripper. I don't know how the residents of Arran feel about that. Pentland Ferries have chartered MV Alfred down, and she's operating from Troon to Brodick as well at the moment. But I just love these older ferries. But yeah, a bit cramped, but absolutely incredible, really enjoyable experience. And have you been to the Isle of Arran? This is my first visit, so I'm off for a bit of a stroll and see what I can see. As always, thank you so much for watching, and look out for the next video. Bye for now.